Okay, we'd like this committee meeting first, the committee of the whole. Committee of the whole, thank you. The committee of the whole meeting to come to order on December 1st, 2014 at 7:15. And would you call the roll, please?
Adams.
Here.
Jones. Here. Sefrati.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Brownlee.
Here.
Turjansky.
Here.
Agee. Here. Albers.
Here. Our purpose tonight is to discuss any lingering questions for the final appropriations. That would be 2014-86, which we reviewed last week. And if you have any lingering questions, I believe Irene is prepared to answer them. And if you'd like to begin with 2014, is there anything that we have outstanding that you'd like to discuss?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
The revenue change based on our discussion, so I'm going to pass this around. This is 14. And 15 has this black line that you'll be able to distinguish. This is just for the revenue.
So does this negate the 2014 that we got last?
Revenue.
Okay.
Revenue, not these expenses. And that was based on the following.
Well, it's on the 2014 appropriation. What is the second? What is this one?
The black line is 15, 2015.
That's the budget.
This is just the revenue section. That's the only thing that changed. I didn't want to use up a lot of paper to reprint all the other documents.
Do we ever get one from now?
It should be.
It's
coming. No? You're missing one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what are you missing?
Looks like both of them. Looks like both of them.
Just the first.
The 14. You have an extra copy?
No, I have that.
Ms. Crowe,
Yes.
so we found it.
No, there was.
One is a black one and one is not.
Same thing as estimated. If it's both the same. This is the new one.
Are you set?
I think so.
Okay, also at the bottom is the date, in case you get mixed up. It's just a 12/1. Okay, I mean, just when you're comparing it to your last time. Everybody
This one
ready?
is the same as this one.
Yes.
This is the other.
Okay, last time, the question, the follow-up that was requested was in regards to the railroad retribution that was on the form. So if you look on page 2, I highlighted in yellow. And you can see how that was adjusted. The $118,000, which is in the estimated resources from January through December. Those are the dollars that have actually been received to date for this year. And that is the end of this contract that ran from 2004 through 2014. So we received our last payment from that agreement. And those were the in-gate fees. So that was one of the questions.
And the last payment was,
It was received
I mean, it
back in
was,
July.
and it was 118?
No, that's for the year.
That's for the year.
Yeah, January through December, for the
Okay.
whole year. They paid quarterly payments, and so we received 3 quarters this year. They were paying about $38,000 a quarter.
And has any of that money been spent on, is it going to the general fund before?
Yes, it's in the general fund. It's in the general fund.
Do we know how much of that we have left, per se?
Well, it's not so much, it's just part of all these other revenues that you see, so it's not like,
Right,
you know, we put
it's
some.
separate, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
we just went to support the departments in the general fund.
okay.
The other, so I think in terms of the revenue for 2014 estimated, this was basically it. We're sort of waiting, you know, I projected out for the next 2 months. At the time we talked about this, we had closed out October, and you received October data. Sort of, now that we're closer to the end of the year, there may be some tweaking, but, you know, we did our best guess, so that's why I didn't keep moving these numbers until we see in another week or so where we end up in terms of the revenue. And then, like I say, the expenses, I left the same for the same reason for 2014. So the expenses you have, the only thing on that that would change, as I stated before, but I don't have the data, would be from Ed Rand. He just started sending me that data this afternoon in terms of the capital improvement on this page, let's see, under 310, 410 and 390, which is on page 4, where you see the capital improvement grants. So we're going to reconcile that with whatever he's expected from CDBG or any other grants that may come in. So that will change, and so will the corresponding appropriations for capital improvement. So I met with him, I think the day before Thanksgiving. But today he was sending me data that I didn't have a chance to put in. So other than that, or some catastrophic expense, because we still are having a few emergency expenses, they're not huge, but it's just a few, you know, for repair here or signal, or, you know, something for car repair or something of that nature. But we don't expect the numbers to change drastically. So that's it, what I have for 2014 at this point in terms of the projected amended budget for 2014 and the revenue.
Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Have you heard any updates from workers' comp and on the claim about overpayments
In terms,
from years past?
we did receive that, it is reflected in the statement, the revenue statement. You need the, if you look, let's see, let me find it, on page 2, about the fourth, fifth on the top is the OVWC refund, the $145,000.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking about? They received that last month.
And that was from, is that part of that settlement that was filed?
Yes, yes.
I haven't seen anything yet.
I'm sorry?
I'm just talking.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I was part of that with my company, but I know I wouldn't get that much, but I thought I would get something.
Well, I'm
I
not,
haven't seen
let me
anything.
just rephrase, I'm not sure we're talking about the same settlement, but this is the amount that was rebated to the city. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, in terms of the personal versus the city, if it was all inclusive.
There was a case probably back around 2000, where they found that they were overcharging.
Right. And this really is the second. There was one in 2013 they paid out some money. So this is the second one in the last couple of years. There was a big settlement the middle, July or sometime in 2013 also. So I'm not sure how many more they'll have.
Irene,
Yes.
there was another question that we had concerning the health department assessment, which we now understand just gets taken out of the taxes.
Right. Those dollars come out of the property. It's about $90,000.
Right, right.
They deduct it automatically out of our property taxes.
Right, and we were going to go back and see if they had correct information from the census, so, because everything is attached to each individual, $2.30 or whatever it is. Is that something that?
I
we
did
can
make
actually
a
do?
call, but due to the holidays, the gentleman was out around for the holidays, and I have not called back, but I'll make a note to call back, because he has not returned my call.
Okay.
I think he was due back to work today. when
I
called
believe the
last week.
contract is on our agenda.
Okay. So I'll
Thank
make
you.
another call to see.
Okay. It probably will do very little good, but it satisfied my curiosity. Any other questions here for this particular 2014?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mr.
So 2014 estimated revenue, this new document, the only change is the change to the railroad in-gate fees.
Yes, to my knowledge, unless I forgot something, but that's what I intended to change on that one. You find another one?
It was pretty much exactly the same document except for that one line.
Yes. Well, there was the question about what it was, when it was to end, and so on and so forth. So they sent me extensive a payment history, which I forwarded on to the legal department, showing all of the payments. When they started in the middle of 2004. So the 10 years was through July. We received the last payment about July of this year. So that's the 10 years.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
So, page 5, then the bottom line.
The total revenue line? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah. Get a revised estimate for revenue, and then resources, and then the change. So in simple terms, and it's just saying that we're ending the year 356,000 short.
What this is saying, this is reading horizontally.
Okay.
This is basically saying that the 2014, the first shaded column,
Mhm.
those were our amended number back in July, when we had amended our 2014
Okay.
budget, which replaced the permanent budget that we had sent over April 1st. You recall, it was ordinance 2014-54. That was back, I think, in July. So we amended the budget, and this is the amended. And I was just comparing my revised estimate, which is the next column. And so that's the difference between the 21.5 projected number and the 21.2 new projected number. And as you can see, a lot of this, as I was saying last time, was just shifting of the expenses, the revenue from some of the special revenues,
Okay.
and also some duplication. I think we had a duplication of other, but you'll see the changes as you go down, like in garbage assessments and the gasoline tax. Also in Cleveland, the water street repair reimbursement. So it's itemized in terms of the various changes, either favorable or unfavorably, the changes. And those changes amount to $356,000.
Okay. And this is just, okay.
Yeah, that's just the revenue.
Right. Okay.
And so, like I say, the estimated expenses that will change based on the reports that I received from Mr. Wren today. A lot of them came in late this afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock, and I didn't have time to go back and input them. And if there's anything that we see between now and the end of the year in terms of emergency expenses or anything that may dictate a change, but we budgeted in a pretty liberally, so on the expenses and conservative on the revenue.
Any other questions? Okay.
On the 2015, that's the form with the black line down side. And it's basically the same thing as the in-gate fees that changed, which is on page 2. It still says railroad, retribution, but it was those in-gate fees. So we had, in the original budget, on the first reading, I had projected that we would receive more income until we did the research. So it's highlighted, will not be any revenue for 2015 for that. And then also, the other yellow highlight, I did a strike through the garbage collection. There was discussions on whether or not the $200,000 would be transferred, so I took it out. So those were the two changes that were made to this document.
You took it out and where did it go?
Out of the budget.
It's out.
It had 200,000 on your previous that I recommended that we transfer from the, as council had stated during the summer when we were discussing that if there was any money, they so, this body so choose that the money could be transferred to the general fund. But there was some unreadiness at the last meeting, so I took it out. But of course, it could only be done against council approval.
Where's that listed at, Irene?
It's on page 2, the yellow highlight.
No, I mean, where did you put the 200,000?
It came out, it's gone.
Gone.
I didn't put it in place. I removed it.
Did it go back, I'm thinking, did it go back to the general fund?
It was
Did it
nowhere.
increase
No, it was
that?
about the
No.
garbage.
Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere. I'm just saying that I just took it out. Well, technically, it stays in the waste garbage collection, the 251. It was just a suggestion that it came out. So. And at the same time, we were reconciling the payment, so like I say, that may need tweaking in terms of the special revenue, but the idea was to not move the money.
At that time. Just to imagine. Okay, do we have any questions on 2015 at all?
Madam Chair? Can you
Yes.
just take a few minutes and look through it page
Sure.
by page?
Sure, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Can you wait just one moment, let everybody look at it for just a few minutes, and we'll go back. Is that missing? Here it is. Here it is. Page 7. It's not on these other two things. Any day from doing the legislation. Is it just like the other one, just transfer?
This ordinance I gave you. General fund.
Jackie, possible question to Irene in the year, we did the special assessment.
She doesn't have it on this one. Okay, are we ready? Yes? Mr. Brownlee, you had a question?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Kroll, for the building department, the last time we met with them and they explained to us that they brought in about $481,000 in the permit fees, and $200,000 roughly of that goes to MBIS. The money, I was wondering about how the money's collected. All that $480,000 comes to the city first, and then we calculate how much goes back to MBIS, and
Yes,
then we
they
pay
send us a
that back to
bill.
them.
They send us an actual invoice, yes.
Okay. And how does that, where is that inside the appropriations? We have the building commissioner on page 3 in the appropriations.
And there should be a building department listed. If you look, it's a department within the general fund.
Uh-huh.
So there's the building department.
I see the building commissioner, 4,000 on page 3.
Well, there should not be on
Unless that was it.
you see. Okay, you see that, but do you see salary and wages, fringe benefits, and other administrative? So they're paid out of other administrative.
And were you page 3, you say?
Page 3, yeah. So the, I'm wondering currently about the $200,000 that goes to MBIS. That would be under the other administrative?
Yes.
And what else is included under other administrative? to make the,
Anything other they spend supplies or mostly it will be supplies and those types of things.
so we pay a monthly retainer as
Their
well?
bill comes in two parts. One is a retainer. The other is based on the service that they provide per unit calculation by the number of inspections and a certain percent. I don't have that information with me, but that's the methodology that they use. So it's two-part. There's an actual retainer, and then there's the other fees.
And the retainer is completely separate from the fees that we,
The bill
like they don't
is-
take the retainer out of the amount we owe them?
They-
Okay.
No. They
And that's
send
on a
us
month?
They send us an invoice.
Uh-huh.
You get an actual invoice every month for that. It's about 62, it's $75,000 a year roughly, the retainer.
Okay.
Irene, would you mind going to page 4?
Which document are you looking at?
It's a good question. Then, well, I'm back on 1117. I don't think it's changed. Page 4 on 1117. And here, I had looked at this and I also mentioned it to someone
I'm
else.
sorry, these are appropriations or revenue?
These are the temporary 2015
Appropriations of revenue.
appropriations. Okay. On page 4 at the very bottom, it says administrative and total expenditures, and you have $71,000. Is that legal fees?
On page 4?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
Okay, the one with the black line?
Is it the finance department?
No, it's the law department. It's
Oh,
legal.
legal, okay. What's your question, Amy?
The question is what $71,000 is?
Well, a lot of that are the negotiations, the attorney fees we've been paying for negotiations, like for the fire negotiations and other legal expenses we had.
And that's current. 71,000 is current.
As far as I know, it's current.
Okay. Okay, so it's, and you're projecting into next year for 75,000, is that?
Yes, I just added 75 because we'll be going to the police and probably other bargaining units, so it's hard to tell is what it'll be. But of course, with this being a temporary budget, we'll have an opportunity to amend it, or anytime we do that.
Okay.
But that was the only data that I had basically to project for next year, based on what we did with the fire and other stuff. I mean, that's not total attorneys, but it's included in that number.
Okay,
Madam Chair.
go ahead.
Back to the building department. I had a question as to the
I'm sorry, what page
employees.
are you on, which document?
I believe it'll be on page 3,
On
under
level
the
17?
building commissioner again. So you mentioned that under other administrative, we're paying a retainer and of course, MBIS's percentage of the fees that we collect. Salaries and wages, who does that cover?
Well, we have a couple staff there, Payroll and Stephanie.
So Daryl and Stephanie are in the 79,000 projected for 2015.
Yes.
And the building commissioner,
That's a professional service. It's
Uh-huh.
on the other administrative.
other administrative, okay.
Yeah, it's not on payroll.
And that's it for the building department. Thank you.